Hello everybody, I'm Michael Douglas and welcome to another episode of Dr. Pundit, where we talk about music, not medicine. And on this edition of the show, I'll be talking about current events and what's bigger than this week, the second Sunday of February 2024, why it's the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 58 to be exact. And the halftime show is bestowed upon Usher, the R&B star who's been making music for more than 30 years now. His debut album came out in 1994, simply titled Usher. And when he started his My Way residency, My Way was his album from 1997 that pretty much broke him out into the mainstream. When he started his residency at the Coliseum at Caesar's Palace in 2021, the coronavirus pandemic was far from over, and audiences were still in a life depression, as he puts it. But 2 years later, and one bigger venue later, My Way finished as a success, and he's ready for the global stage, otherwise known as the Super Bowl halftime show. Now, 2024 marks the 30th anniversary of his self-titled debut, as I talked about, called Usher. And on the eve of the halftime show, the singer-songwriter will release his much-anticipated, long-gestating new project called Coming Home, the first on his own label. The name of his record label is Mega, in partnership with music industry vet L.A. Antonio Reid, the guy who worked with Babyface to produce dozens of hits in the late 1980s and early 1990s. And on August 20th of this year, he'll embark on a just announced past, present, and future tour, playing 24 arena dates across the US, with more dates to be announced. Now, he sat down recently with Billboard Magazine, and he hints as to what fans can expect at the halftime show.
I now play the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, and I'm very, very happy.
You look very calm, cool, and collected outside, but inside are you like, because it's a matter of days at this point, right?
I'm trying my hardest not to overthink it, but it's literally 12 to 15 minutes if I can manage to impress the entire world over 30 years of a career within 15 minutes. It's a lot, you know. I'm definitely happy that I'm coming off a successful residency and kind of in the rhythm of it overall.
He also sought the advice of a couple of Super Bowl halftime veterans in preparation.
Have you reached out to any prior Super Bowl performers to get some advice or pointers? Or
I actually happened to be on a boat not too long ago with Katy Perry. You know, she began to give me some notes. I heard that Rihanna, she stood up for me and said something really incredible. I really appreciated that. I've watched each and every performer who's ever been on it. This is a moment I've prepared for 30 years.
What's Usher's favorite hit? The #1 smash from 2001, You Got It Bad, from the LP 8701. He also talks about how one of his idols, Michael Jackson, set the standard for the Super Bowl halftime show performance.
is there still a fave song that you still, after all this time, still love to sing the most and perform to, dance to the most?
I really enjoy You Got It Bad.
You got it bad. You call right back.
What is it about You Got It Bad?
I think the fact that people sing it the way that they do when I'm performing and they feel a connection to it, it feels real. You know, every time I'm making an album, I'm trying to project some of the things that I've experienced, gone through, or either think are relevant to be, spoken about in relationship. But when it all comes together, the song, the connecting messaging to the audience and the dance, it almost feels like classical music. And a lot of my inspirations when I begin to, really analyze being a great artist, they were classical performers. Even Michael was classical because he was inspired by classical.
He hints as to the nature and sound of his upcoming album and why his biggest album, 2004's Confessions, still resonates with him and his fans.
New album, Coming Home. I think people are still waiting, want to know if it's still going to be like Confessions. So can you give us a little hint?
It's not going to be Confessions because Confessions is Confessions. Every album offers a bit of where I was in my life and what I felt like I wanted to share. But this is the first time that I've ever felt so comfortable to just be where I am. I ain't really trying to follow nothing or anybody. I'm my own entity. And I really feel like I'm 100% in my skin. And after 30 years, it shouldn't even be a question about whether it's going to be greater than something in my past. I'm not thinking of this album in comparison to anything other than what it is. It is uniquely, it is its own.
I think you saw you posted.
Yes.
Confessions to Rolling Stone, top R&B song, number one, 21st century.
So go, what you do is I gotta give you part two of mine. If I'm gonna tell it,
Yeah.
The 21st. So what is it about that song? It'll be 20 years old this year,
Yes.
right? And what is it that still resonates so much, you think, with that particular song?
I think Confessions as an album gave you something else to talk about than just the music. I think it was the overall project, period, that Confessions offered in terms of how it launched, the fact that it was the last and still is the last album to sell 1.1 million units in a week, and also to be rewarded a diamond album. So those are standards that I don't even know if we can get to in the same way that we used to because of the way we distribute music, you know, in terms of tangible copies. Back then, you know, you could literally sell that many copies because they were there. Now it's a download, it's a click.
And the song itself, though, Confessions Part 2? The
Confessions
song itself,
Part 2,
I mean,
yeah. I think culturally, to be, you know, that toxic in some way, or either live in this very vulnerable space of telling a story and being that honest, it felt like authentic R&B, but it had a rhythm and a hip hop, you know, kind of unapologetic message to it, because you weren't really, you know, trying to figure out how to be soft. This is a really harsh thing to say to your partner. I'm in a relationship with you and I got a baby by another woman that I barely even know. That right there was a subject that I thought, it was a subject that I thought was very important to kind of break the conversation of how R&B is looked at.
Usher likes giving advice to the next generation of R&B talent on his motivations and for continuing to make music.
What do you tell the next generation of R&B artists who look at your 30-year career? What is the one lesson you try to impart to them in terms of that, learning that lesson, that it's not about chasing a hit?
What I will say is the most important thing that you can do is invest in yourself. Invest in your skill, invest in your experience, invest in the experience that you give your audience. You know, just when you think, oh, wait a minute, you know, it's time to check out and, you know, it's standard, now it's down to standards time. Doesn't have to be. Your experience can change if you invest in it. If you invest in the experience that people receive when they listen to your music, it'll feel brand new to them. It's special to the people who made it a #1 hit. So you're playing a hit record. I really do enjoy what I do. And I don't take kind to the fact that people at times have doubted it. But it has definitely been motivating for me to continue to push to be great and to make something that was great and surround myself around people who don't just want to see what I saw or what they saw, that they are invested in what is happening in the future.
So Usher, I think is going to have a fantastic show. That's the only thing that really interests me about the Super Bowl this year. I've followed his career for much of that time, and with the exception of a couple of album duds, he's had a really solid, stellar career. So that's it for this edition of Dr. Pundit, Current Events. I'm Michael Douglas. If you like what you see, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to the channel. It allows me to keep giving you more content like this. So hey, support a guy. And as the late great Barry White used to say, let the music play. And I'll see you at the next video.